Nothing brings me greater peace than a day at the beach. One day while walking with my mom, we came across these sand dollars, which never happens, so I knew they were special, and I had to make them into a charm for something for her. I'm going to make a coil to get that charm started. I'm going to take a piece of slow dry clay, don't need a lot, just a little pinch. I'll start rolling it into like a cylinder so that I have a little bit of a round shape to work with. And I'm going to take a rolling rectangle. It's really just a sheet of acrylic cut into a rectangular shape. I'm just going to apply gentle pressure on that coil as it's growing, getting it to a diameter that I feel will work for this pendant or charm, whatever size piece you're working on. And that looks good. I'm going to take a drinking straw, apply a little bit of oil so that when it's dry, when the coil gets dry, it'll slide off and not stick to the straw. So I'm just going to spin the straw and create that coil out of the rope of clay. And then as you see these surface cracks appear, those are things that you can fix later, nothing to worry about. I'm going to set that over something where it'll rest and stay round and not lie flat on a worktop, and just let it dry. And then we'll come back to that later. Now to take that sand dollar so that I can use it in a form of metal clay, I'm going to make a mold. So I'm going to use a 2-part molding compound, and I'm going to take equal parts and squish them together. We're just going to squish until the color is consistent and that you don't see any white. You just keep going until you have that kind of color. And then once it's set, I'm going to put it onto my worktop, like I've done here, and press down on it so it's even. And I'm going to take my sand dollar and I'm going to press into that mold compound and just make it so that that will stay flat and let it set. You'll know when the mold compound is ready when you can press your fingernail in it and nothing shows and it comes right back. Once you have that set, we're going to take some more clay and pop that into the mold. All right. I'm going to press that in until it fills out the mold, and then we're going to let that dry. Once it's dry, I'm going to take a salon board, and I'm going to refine the edges. Now, the sand dollars have rough edges. They're just not as jagged as this mold released this last time. So I'm just going to refine it a little bit, but trying very hard to maintain that natural edge that a sand dollar has. Okay, once that's ready, you can at this time take your polishing papers or your sandpaper and go over the surface of it. You don't want to wear too much away because the sand dollar has really nice texture to it, and the mold material and the clay have really retained that original sand dollar material and detail that you don't want to lose that. Okay, so now I'm going to set that aside, and I have some dried coil here that I'm just going to cut apart. And I would recommend that you take a clay blade and attach 2 popsicle sticks, one on either side, so that you have a safe handle for when you're going to cut your coil apart. And we're just going to cut across, kind of creating jump rings. And then I'm just going to cut them in half and then use one of the pieces that came from that. And then I need to refine the edges until it will sit flush against the sand dollar. Just want to get it down a little bit, like I have here. See, this one will fit quite nicely against the edge of the sand dollar. And to attach it, you can either use the paste or the syringe. I have the syringe here, and it's just so cool. It just dispenses a little amount in a very controlled way. And then you just kind of see how that just kind of comes right out. And then I'm just going to put that back. This has a little bit of water in it so that the tip of the syringe doesn't dry up. The clay in the syringe doesn't dry up while I have it sitting there. And I'm just going to attach that to the sand dollar. And I'm going to let that sit and let it dry. And then once it's dry, we'll refine it one last time before we fire it. And I'll take the jeweler's file and just kind of cut down some of those edges from the syringe and just kind of refine it so it's really finished nicely so that you have a really beautiful charm. And then you could take your polishing papers again or your sanding sandpaper and do the same motions that you did before, just bringing that finish to a really nice mirror shine once we're done. And then we can fire it. All set, put it on our fire block, put on the safety glasses, throw the safety on the torch, start the torch, and then we'll start firing. And again, we'll have that binder burning off, so you'll see a little bit of the flame and the smoke. And once it gets up to that salmon color, that peachy salmon color, you want to start your timer for 2.5 minutes. There's the flame. That's your binder burning off. And this is where your piece will start to shrink. You can almost see from the original outline of the piece to where it finishes up that you have a shrinkage percentage there of about 8%. So we're going to hold that for 2.5 minutes until it's completely fired. Once that's done, it's time to bring out that shine. So we're going to take the wire brush across the surface of the sand dollar and just start burnishing it. And we're just changing the topography of the metal to bring out that shine. See how beautiful that is? All that silver and all that detail. I mean, it's such a fine detail. It's not very deep, but it's there. It's all there. You can see the shape of the sand dollar and all those little divots that it has in its surface. And we can take the burnisher and you can go across that and just bring out that shine to be even higher finish. And then once your charm's done, you can incorporate it into anything. You can put it in a charm bracelet, you can hang it from a necklace, you can put it into a pair of earrings. I have a pair of earrings finished, and to keep with the nautical theme and being at the beach, I found some Swarovski starfish crystals that I thought went well with it, and I just added some chain and some other crystals to it to really make a beautiful finished piece for my mom. And I have some other coin earrings that I did that are a similar technique. And then we have a vintage brooch that we did that we also made a mold and then created that piece from. The combination of art clay and the molding compound gives you the ability to turn any treasure into an amazing piece of jewelry that's both special and beautiful.